Hey there everybody, it's Steve from Chiefskills. And the other day I was watching this video that Dan Bauman has out on Chief Expert's website where he covered constructing this porch with this barrel ceiling. And it intrigued me because I thought, well, he struggled with it when he was doing it because it was off the cuff. And so I did some trial and error and thought of a way to do it quickly and thought I'd put a quick video together and show you how to do it. And let's get started and take a look. Okay, hey there everybody, Steve here, Chiefskills. And here's my little colonial house I'm going to put this porch on. And let's get started. It's fairly simple, but there are a couple of quirky little things. Let's go over here to the floor plan. And one thing I discovered in doing this is that I'm going to use soffits for a majority of this trim detail. And if you use soffits and slabs and things like that, and you set their elevation and you don't have a terrain, things are fine. But as soon as you add the terrain, all those items will adjust on their own to be the elevation above the terrain. So we don't want that. We don't want these things moving later. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is draw a Cad box here. And I'm going to make it 12 foot wide and 96 inches deep. And I'm going to center that box on the door. And then I'm going to pull it back to the main layer here, point to point. And I'm going to use those as guidelines for my walls that I'm going to draw. So I'm going to draw an exterior wall. Let's just use a siding 4. And start over here and click and click. Well, I'm just in continuous mode here. And then, as you can see, I've got this handle on the outside edge. And the way I do that is right here in your defaults walls. And you can get it, I think you can get those right here. No, you can't. It's a general wall default. And I moved it from the main layer to the outer surface so that I could just grab this wall and move it right to there and move it right to here like this. And then I'm going to select those 3 walls and make them invisible on the general tab here, and no locate. And on the structure tab, on the roof tab, no. On the general tab, no. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. On the room tab here, when you double click in the room, make sure it's a porch room. Unclick show room label. We don't want to see that. Set the floor 4 inches down. I like to change the thickness to 8. It might be 4, whatever you have as default. And then uncheck ceiling and uncheck roof. And I'll show you what happens. If you leave roof over this room checked, when you look at you're going to lose your soffit right here until you build a roof. But I don't want this room controlling that, so I'm just going to uncheck that because it won't matter. And then you'll get your soffit back up here, right up in here. Okay, so now we have a room, and now we can actually build our terrain. And I'm going to set this terrain perimeter down. It's at the automatic. I'm going to go 24 inches. Now, when we put these soffits in, they won't be ruled by the terrain. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to cabinets and pick a soffit and put this soffit right here. Pull it out. I'm going to make it 6 foot long. All right. And I'm going to open that. And one thing I want to do is do a section back clip through the door. And then I'm going to get this elevation of the top of this molding. And I'm going to draw a line here. Double click the line. Go to line. Click length and angle. And there it is, 107.5. Okay. So I want to set this at, first of all, I'm only going to make it 8 inches deep, and I'm going to set the top to 107.5. Then I'm going to add moldings. And I have this molding right here, CA34, which is just your standard Chief molding. Then I'm going to add another molding, -01, which is a standard stock molding. I've got one that I've made horizontal. Click here, put it to the top, and then take your crown and offset it the thickness of that molding, which is 1 inch. And then I'm going to make this molding only 4 inches wide. And there you have it. Let's just make sure it's still at 107.5. It is. Okay. So let's just take a look at the front elevation here. And that's quite not right. I think it's adjusting for, oh, the soffit is being set by the porch floor. So in reality, what we have to do is add 4 inches. So I'm just going to hit +4. There we go. Now it's right. I'm going to take my eyedropper here, get this paint, and paint that soffit so it looks like a piece of trim. And we're getting there. So the next thing I want to do is create another soffit. And this one, I'm just going to build it over here for now. I'm going to make it the same length for now, and I'm only going to make it 16 inches wide. And I'm going to open it. And I'm going to make it 4 inches tall, and I'm going to add a molding. I'm just going to use a stock Chief bed mold, CA21, I believe it is. This one right here. Put it right there on the top. And actually, I'm going to make this only 3 inches tall. There we go. And I'm going to pull it over here and center it on this soffit. And then I am going to draw a line right here, 45 degrees. And I'm going to pull this soffit back until it clicks right there. So it's equally spaced all the way around. Now this one, the bigger one, the bottom is 103.5, so the top of this needs to be 103.5. So let's take a look. And we got it coming together. Vector view might be easier to see. And I'm going to paint this white. There you go. And now we need a roof. I want to do half of this, and the roof is kind of tricky, so let's just take a look here. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to close this. I don't need that anymore. And let's go here, and I am going to, one thing I'm going to do right off the get-go here is move this back a bit. I'm going to click here and go 45 degrees. And then drag this wall so that's there. So now we have equal spacing all the way around. We can get rid of this Cad box. And if we look at it, it looks like it'll look like our porch is in the right place. Okay. So now we need a roof. And I'm going to go Q. And if you look at my roof plane here, I'm set at 912. But all this other stuff, it doesn't really matter right now. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to go right here and then drag this up to the middle of the door, drag it back and drag it out past, well, about right there. Then I'm going to drag this into the soffit here and then, wait a minute, right here. Then I'm going to pull it out maybe -5 inches or so. And if we take a look, it's going to be a lot higher than our soffit. See it? And I want to do a few things to here. So I'm going to go here to the gutter tab and delete the gutter. I'm going to go to the options tab, uncheck box Steve, and make it square. I'm going to go to shadow boards and delete what I've got and add new. And I'm going to add that same CA34 crown, even gable, and click OK. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. And but it's a lot higher than we want, so I am going to, now this is at 107.5, we know that, well actually 111.5, yeah. So if I go here and I open this and I put lock pitch and put the shadow board right here at 111.5. That didn't work very well, did it? I think what's happening is my room is above, as you can see here. So I am going to change this room height to like 104. There you go. Maybe even a little lower than that. 100. I don't think it really matters. Well, it might matter. How about if I move this wall in the X direction, say 3 inches? Yeah, we get it back. Say, I think the wall is cutting into it, but I think we can still make this work. I'm going to lower it down -3, -1. I'm just getting it close here. There we go. And let's see if I move it out on the X direction 2 inches. Oops, wrong way. -4. There we go. And so what I wanted was this roof edge to kind of hit right there on this 1x. And I got it. And I can pull it out a little bit. So let's go to the floor plan and pull this roof out maybe, I don't know, 4 inches. -4. Take a look. Perfect. Well, might move it back just a little bit. Maybe 1/2 inch. Okay. You guys following me on this? I'm just trying to get this rake crown mold right here to sit on this 1x. And it's looking pretty good. I'm going to take shadows off. So it's pretty good. It's close enough for rock and roll, and let's call it a day. Now, it's probably not in the center of the door any longer because I've moved it back and forth. So let's just make this sure this is right there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to click here and here and here, and we are going to do copy and reflect about the center of the door. And there you go. And so we've got the majority of the work done already. Now we need to fill this in right here. So what we're going to do is take a section back clip. I have a hotkey for it, SB, so just so you know. And we are going to look at this, and then we are going to do up here, CAD detail from view. And the reason I took it inside here is I wanted to be able to see this soffit. So the next thing I'm going to do is delete all these lines above here. I don't need them. Then I'm going to go Command A, open it, and put them all on the audio video. And make sure it's locked, and it is. I'm going to change the color here to a light gray. And click OK. Yeah. I'm going to unlock it because not everything changed. Change everything to, no, just click here by layer. And then open it again and lock it. And I do that just so it makes it a little easier to draft right here. So I'm going to get a line and draw it down like that, so I have a center line. I'm going to pick up the bottom of this soffit right here, the bigger soffit, and draw a line over, and then I'm going to put an X right there, a point. All right. Then up here, I'm going to go create a polyline box, and I'm going to go -2 and 4 or 5, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to pull this in actually -0.5. There we go. Then I'm going to go 1101, which is my copy and reflect about hotkeys, and we are on our way. Then I'm going to do a Cad box here, and I am going to pull this till it hits the back side of this right here. And then I am going to pull this down. Well, actually, I want to extend these lines. So I'm going to drag a line right here and like that. And then I'm going to drag this down until it snaps right there. So I'm right at the top. I'm going to turn my temporary dimensions off for a second. Hit the 3 key and break this right here. And then drag this corner down. And drag this corner down. And so we're at the top edge of this soffit. That's where I wanted to be. And sometimes I like to even put a little fill so I can see what's going on here. You know, like a, I don't know, like a little blue fill, and make it like 80%. There we go. So now I know I have that there. Now I'm going to do an arc right here. And the arc I want to use is this right here, where center, radius, and then end arc. So I've got my center, which is this X. So I'm going to click on the arc. I'm going to click here, draw out to there, and then draw around. And click OK. And then I'm going to draw a line to connect these two dots, these two radiuses. And I have a polyline. So now I'm going to actually copy this and put it out here because I want to save it. So I'm going to click on this triangle, and then I'm going to hit this down here, polyline subtraction, and I'm going to click the circle and delete the original. Then I'm going to hit Command C and copy it, go back to my section, Control Alt V, and convert that to a polyline solid and make it about 72 inches deep. And if we go to the floor plan, you'll see it on here, this dark line. And actually, I'll just leave it there for now. Let's look at the 3D view. There you go. And let's just make it, no, let's open it and edit it and make it 68. There we go. Beautiful. And I am going to paint it with a plank. I'm going to use a Armstrong flooring, hardwood strip. We'll just use that. It doesn't matter what you paint it. Then grab the rainbow tool and change the pattern, which is the vector view. It's 90 now, so change it to 0. Change the texture. It is 0 now. Change it to 90, and then click OK. And then in standard view, you got your siding, and in vector view, you got your siding. So we're going to fix this porch roof. Let's just move this back, actually, maybe to 67. There we go. Now, go back here to our CAD detail from view. Let's just delete this. And I'm going to do the arc again right here. Same method. I'm going to go to this front edge of this Cad box I got and do that. Then I'm going to take this triangle and hit it and put it right here. And then I got to draw a line across here to create a polyline. So from here to here, so that this arc closes. So hit this box right there and close it. And then take this and do polyline subtraction and do that and say delete original. Now copy this, go back to the section, Control Alt V, convert it, polyline solid, and we'll just leave it 1 inch. And let's take a look, see where it placed it. See, it placed it way back there. So go to the floor plan and you click and you got the doors, hit the tab key until you get it. And now you got it. Pull it out and then push it up against there. It looks like it got off center, so I'm going to center it right there. So, and then paint that white, and that'll be like our trim on the front. There you go. And so that looks pretty good. And we are getting there. Now all we need is columns. So let's go to my library. I've got the column saved there, and pull it out here. And let's just center this column on these soffits. And let's just pull it out. I'm just going to move it till it looks about right. Let's take a look here. It's the wrong elevation, but let's just say 0. And the bottom of this is what? 100.5. So let's just make this 100.5. Oops, changed it in the wrong place. 0. There we go. Nope. Oops, 100.5. There we go. There we go. And then we can just copy and reflect about, and we have it done. And looks pretty good. You just have to finish off your steps, standard view, and that's how I would do that. Now, if you adjust your terrain, say you make it 48 down, it doesn't screw up anything else. So you may want to adjust this porch so they're not so far beyond your columns, but you see how you can do that. You can just go here to your floor plan, click on the wall, and I have my grid snap set to 1 inch. So each time I move it with my arrow, it moves at 1 inch. So let's just move it 2. How about this one 2? And then this one 2. And then take a look. And you can see they moved in a little. So you could always just take this brick here and paint the porch too. So that looks pretty good. I don't know what it did there. It's like it added a layer. Huh. That's weird. Oh well. We don't want that. I was just trying to paint the material on there, onto the porch. Huh. It's Chief. I mean, it's just always something, isn't it? Huh, it adds a layer. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't want that actually. So if I do this, what is this brick material? It is burgundy brick. So if I come in here, materials, floor structure, and I go burgundy brick, type of B, here it is. There we go. So I'm not sure why it's not doing more. It's probably because it's the wall. See, yeah, it's got the wall definition is putting siding on the outside. So that's something I've learned over the years, that like if you're going to do this wall right here, and you really need to kind of create like a copy this and just change this to I don't know, let's just call it porch walls 4. Okay, and then I'll tell you what I would do. I delete all these layers. I just go delete, 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 delete. I'd make this 4 and I'd make it concrete. Let's go. Okay. Now when you look at this, there you go. How about that? So here's a little trick. And then you're not fighting the software all the time, and you have unique walls that, you know, you're not going to change randomly somewhere. So anyway, there's a few tips. Easy way to build a porch. Now here's the thing. This is not going to frame properly or anything like that. It's more to help you to get a nice visual and be able to show your client and get it done so you can move on to something else. And then if you want a section through here, you're going to have to probably detail this in a CAD detail somewhere else. We also have this little flat spot, which is not going to work very well for water. And let's do this side with a molding polyline. So if we go over here, actually, yeah, let's just do a different section. I'm going to delete this section right here and delete this one. Let's do a section backclip this way right here. And we want to create a molding that goes from here to here. I'm going to go, I'll go 3 inches, and then I will bring this down to somewhere like here, pull it out just a little bit, and then pull this out. And then do this down here, add to library. And I'm going to call this porch roof molding A. And I'm just going to drag it up in here to my porch there. And then let's just do this. Let's do a molding line like this. And I'm going to attach that molding. And then I'm going to pull it back to here. And let's take a look and see what we got. Oh, it's wrong height, yeah. Oh, I made it wrong. I made it the wrong direction. Oh, it'll work. Let's go 107.5. Let's just go back to the floor plan here and pull it out to the front edge of the roof here. Okay. There we go. And it's a little high, so I'm going to lower it. -1. There we go. And I'm going to move it in the Y direction -0.5. There we go. And then since it's a molding, I can just do this. And I can do this. And I can, in the floor plan view, pull this back like this. Okay. And then it'll look like that, which is a little better. Maybe like this. Vector view. So there you go. A molding polyline is the way to go here. Let me turn the shadows off. So if you want that little wedge, and then you could always, actually, if you wanted, you could paint that like shingles. If you wanted to create a little, look. So there you go. Couple tips and how to do a roof like this, and using soffits and polyline solids. And hope that helps. Thanks for watching.